Rewind the news. Hanang FM News. If it's new, then it's news.
Good afternoon, welcome to the World News at noon on 103.5 FM. On the national news this afternoon, President Tinubu pledges economic justice for Nigerian workers. On the African news, Uganda declares end to latest Ebola outbreak. And foreign news, Trump rages at courts for lack of courageous justice on immigration. In business, CBN raises over 1 trillion naira in fresh open market operations auction. In entertainment, Davido recounts how army immigration officials launched search for him. Finally, on the sport news, Joko slams Chelsea for letting top star leave Stamford Bridge. Welcome once again to the news. I am Temitope Dada. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has expressed his administration's commitment to Nigerian workers, irrespective of their industry or background, enjoying fair labor practices and economic justice is what he said they would get. The president, who was represented by the Minister of Labor and Employment, Alhaji Magari Dinjadi, at the 4th Quadrennial National Delegate Conference of the Trade Union Congress held in Abuja yesterday, said the administration will continue to work tirelessly to create opportunities for all Nigerians, regardless of their background. The president added that the 70,000 naira new minimum wage was government's response to workers' demand for a better wage following the removal of fuel subsidy. Also in the news this afternoon, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has disclosed that no fewer than 40 persons have been arrested and are facing prosecution for impersonating candidates during the ongoing 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. This is as many parents and guardians are lamenting that the 6:30 a.m. resumption time for the exam was too early for candidates, adding that many may have to travel several kilometers to the examination centers. According to JAMB, over 2,030,627 candidates are sitting for this year's examination across accredited computer-based centers nationwide. On the African news coming from Uganda, Uganda has officially declared the end of its latest Ebola outbreak, 3 months after the first cases emerged in the capital, Kampala. The Ministry of Health announced this milestone via its official X account, calling it good news and confirming that 42 days had passed without new infections since the last patient was discharged. World Health Organization's chief, Tedros Adhanom, also alluded the Ugandan Health Ministry for its leadership commitment in overcoming the outbreak. And on the foreign scene coming from the U.S., State President Donald Trump has called out American courts, accusing them of obstructing his immigration agenda in the hours after attending the funeral of Pope Francis in Rome on Saturday. In a post that is on his social media, President Trump accused judges of working to cement the immigration crisis that took place as a result of former President Joe Biden's administration. Meanwhile, in recent weeks, federal judges have recently blocked or limited several of Trump's executive actions pertaining to immigration and deportations. And moving on to the business news this afternoon, the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised a total of 1 trillion naira at its open market operations auction. According to the Apex Bank's data, the auction, which initially offered 500 billion naira across 2 maturities, attracted total bids of nearly 1.5 trillion naira. This indicates that investors sought to take advantage of high-yield government instruments amid rising inflation and expanding money supply. The move by the CBN to raise funds from open market operations affirms its aggressive monetary tightening stance aimed at mopping up excess liquidity and cooling inflationary pressures that have persisted despite elevated interest rates and a record high cash reserve ratio. On the entertainment scene this afternoon, Afrobeat artist David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, has recounted how Nigerian security agencies launched a search for him on his billionaire father Deji Adeleke's accord after he absconded from home as a teenager to pursue music. Davido recalled secretly setting up a studio while living alone with his father in a 16-bedroom mansion after his mother had passed and his siblings studying abroad. Davido explained that he eventually got tired of hiding his passion and fled to London to live with a producer for 6 months while his family launched a search that involved immigration officers, police, army, and other security agencies. And finally, in sport news this afternoon, former Chelsea attacker Joko has blasted the club for allowing defender Trevor Chalobah leave on loan at the beginning of the 2024-25 season. According to Cole, the club committed a crime by allowing the player leave, adding that the Blues have let several of their best defenders go. Chelsea had allowed Chalobah to leave Stamford Bridge to join Crystal Palace on loan last summer. The defender was, however, recalled in January 2025 due to an injury crisis in Enzo Maresca's defense. And now we all for now on the World News at noon on Honor 103.5 FM. Before we go, here is a recap of the major stories. On the national news, we informed you that President Tinubu has pledged economic justice for Nigerian workers. Also in the news, JAMB has nabbed 40 impersonators for aspirants they cry exam resumption time. On the African news, Uganda has declared an end to latest Ebola outbreak in the country. And on the foreign scene, Trump has raged at courts for lack of courageous justice on immigration in the U.S. In business, CBN has raised over 1 trillion naira in fresh open market operations action. In entertainment, Davido has recounted how army immigration officials launched search for him years ago. And in sport news, Joko has slammed Chelsea for letting top star leave Stamford Bridge. For Eyewitness Report news mentions and news commercials, contact the Honor FM newsroom at 0915-103-5555 or 0704-800-1035. You can also check out our website at www.honorfm1035.net for more information. The news was compiled by Toby Ojumu. I am Temitope Dada. Thanks for listening.
And that was the news on Honor 103.5 FM. Honor and integrity. Our watchword.
Hey, what's happening, people? It's your boy Lamidi Bado. Shamo Okpoli ti owo lowo eru to jowo elo.
Hey, this is Ed Sheeran.
This is your man Flo Rida.